If you take a look at the quadratic equation, this piece of it that's inside the square root, it's called the discriminant. And it determines what kind of solutions you're going to have and how many you're going to have. For instance, if b squared minus 4ac equals 0, then you'll have x equals the opposite of b over 2a. And that's just one solution. That's all it is. There's not even two solutions, and it's regular numbers because a and b are regular numbers in our course. So what happens if b squared minus 4ac, the discriminant, is bigger than 0, so equals a positive number? Then we'll have x equals the opposite of b plus or minus, and the square root of a positive number will just be some positive number over 2a, and so we're going to get two separate answers, and they're going to both be regular types of numbers. Not anything special about them, just some weird numbers. And what happens if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0 or equals a negative number? Then we'll have x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of a negative number all over 2a, and this gives you imaginary values. So these will be complex solutions with imaginary numbers. So when the discriminant's 0, you get one regular solution. When the discriminant's positive, you get two real valued solutions. When the discriminant is negative, that's when you get complex solutions. And so the first couple of problems go kind of like this. Instead of finding the solutions, just describe how many and what kind they are. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a b squared minus 4ac calculation. b squared is negative 2 times negative 2, that's 4. A times c is 1 times 4, that's 4. We got 4 take away 16, that's negative 12. So the discriminant, the thing inside the square root, is negative 12. Well, that's going to be, square root of 12 times I. So these are going to be two complex, or I guess you could call them imaginary solutions, but two complex solutions is better. So let's do another one just to see kind of what we have here. What about this one? We're going to do a b squared minus 4ac to see what kind of solutions we're going to have. B squared is negative 12 times negative 12, that's 144. Minus 4 times A times C is 36. That's 144 minus, and this is 144, so the discriminant's 0. That means inside here we have 0, which means x equals the opposite of b over 2a, so there's just one solution, and it's a real number. It's not some sort of weird complex number. So one real solution. Another kind of problem in section 11.3, and that is, can we work backwards? In mathematics, if you can do a problem forwards and backwards, you really understand it pretty well. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine a quadratic equation, something like this, where when we find its solutions, we get these two solutions. And can we figure out what that quadratic equation might look like? And so let's try it. What we're going to do is we're going to use the zero product rule. So I'm imagining this. If this times this is 0, then one of these two things has to be 0. If x is 4, this will be 0, and 0 times anything is 0, and we win. If x is negative 2/3, then this factor will be 0, and we'll have 0 times something is 0, and we win. So far, we've got it. We've got an equation that works, but we want it to be in this form. And furthermore, it would be to our advantage if a, b, and c weren't fractions, because if a, b, and c are some fractions, it's going to be not so good. So what I'm going to do to this equation, I notice that there's fractions creeping up, and sometimes we have to deal with fractions, but I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by 3. Here I just have 0 times 3 being 0. Here I'm multiplying 3 times either this or this, but not both. So I'm multiplying it here and here. I'm distributing it through here. So I will have x minus 4 times, and now 3x plus, and 3 times 2/3, sorry about that, 3 times 2/3 is just 2. And so I now have another equation that has solutions of 4 and negative 2/3, but I'm looking for something like this. So now I'm going to do FOIL or multiplication. X times 3x is 3x squared. And here I have 2x, and here I have minus 12x, and 2x minus 12x is minus 10x, and here I have negative 8, and here I have 0. So here's an equation. It's in this form, and its solutions are 4 and negative 2/3. And we've kind of worked backwards. So if you wanted to do the quadratic formula on this, you could. If you wanted to factor it, you could, but it would have these two solutions.